This week we are here with VP Education elect for Kent Union, Dave Cocozza. We're going to be chatting to him about his policies for the coming year and how he feels about getting the role. So Dave, can you just introduce yourself really quick for us?
Okay, I'm Dave Cocozza. I'm third year film studies student and I'm just about to go into the role of VP Education 2016-17 for Kent Union.
Cool. Obviously for the last couple of years you've run for union president, so I guess the key question is why education this time?
You asked me this question a few days ago, mate. I don't know if you remember that one.
Not on camera.
So I did some wild modules this year. So part of my film degree, there's no compulsory modules. So I did a wild module on British politics and a wild module on education policy. So the education policy one was about higher education, schooling systems, further education and so on, and how government policy is shaped and affected that. And really kind of opened my eyes up to how education has changed over the last few years, and how I really don't agree entirely with the way it's going, and how I can make a bit of an impact and change it. This year I've had to repeat my degree, my final year, because of some health issues that I had last year. And the universities, they've capped my grade at 40%. My partner, Maisie, has had a lot of problems this year with her lecturers not understanding her disabilities and kind of being chastised for that. So a lot of these issues have kind of empowered me to think, well, if I focus my efforts onto one thing, as opposed to being the president, which is the figurehead and sort of spokesperson for the union, I'm more likely to actually make a change and impact something. So that was my reason behind going for education. A lot of people think it's, oh, you just want the power, education's an easy win. That's not what it is. It's not that at all. I've gone through a lot of stick in the last few years, and I genuinely feel like I can change a lot at this university. So education is the role that I thought would make the most amount of impact on what I wanted to do.
You say that you thought, well, other people thought that it was going to be an easy win for you, but it definitely wasn't in terms of some of the people that were running against you. And like, were you a bit surprised when you won?
Massively. I think if anyone hasn't seen those photos of me online, that it looks like I'm holding an invisible subway. I'm like, that photo. That's how shocked I was, and it still hasn't really sunk in. I was happy with the campaign I ran. The last few years, I've been really bitterly disappointed with it. I kind of think that the last few years I didn't put as much effort I wanted to into it, because I suffered from anxiety quite badly, so I actually affected my kind of performance, I guess. But this year I had the social media campaign, I had some, I put out videos that really are going to follow me everywhere I go now, and I'm ready for that to happen. But it kind of made student politics engaging for people, and I had a very good and proactive team out there with me flying, so I was really happy with the campaign. So that put my mind at ease this year. I was kind of silently confident with what I had done, but I wasn't going to be complacent. I certainly didn't think I would win, kind of by the margin that I did. So yeah, I was shocked, and sort of commiserations still to some of the amazing other candidates, Alex, Stuart and Andreas. Andreas has been a close friend of mine for a few years now, and I really appreciate the work he's done at this university to kind of make a change.
So you say that you did some sort of funny videos and things as part of your campaign. A couple I saw you were rapping in.
Yeah.
Do you were you sort of trying to change your image in some way? Like, people were saying that a lot of the criticism around those videos was, oh, Dave's trying to be down with the kids a bit and like be a bit cool.
It's the first time I've heard that criticism.
were you trying to sort of appeal to like a wider audience maybe than you would have previously?
Well, yeah, kind of, really. I mean, it's not like to be down with the kids. I mean, I think that I am. I'm still a child. I'm 25. I'm not 36. Okay, I'm still somewhat with the freshness. I'm
23 and I don't feel like I'm down with the freshness.
Okay, then I'm worried.
Yeah, you're out.
So I did the videos because a lot of people really don't care about the elections. It's just shown by the amount of people that actually vote in them. There's such a low turnout. Kent has a very, I don't know whether it's apathy or they just don't know about elections or they don't care what happens or they think that change doesn't happen. So I thought, what can I do to kind of go out there and make it engaging? And I've always wanted to do a video. My first year that I ran for elections, I did quite a serious video. Wasn't seen that many times. Last year I didn't have the facility to do it. But this year, I just put all my energy into making a really good social media campaign, because the stats were showing that 70% of people were voting from home, whereas 30% were voting for the venue. So it made sense that you had a good online presence. And I thought videos, if you can have content that people want to share, it's going to attract a wide audience. It was shown I've got 22,000 views, I think, on the videos, and that's it. I mean, I'm blown away by that. think most of those are from my mum and me, kind of watching them repeatedly when I'm twerking in the video. But I'm really happy with how it went. So it's not about, it doesn't matter. I made the videos, it's what I want to do in my campaign. I'm really pleased with what happened with it. And the positive reaction has been, everyone's kind of really liked it really. I went to venue last Saturday and I was repeatedly called Stormzy throughout the entire play. I was walking down the steps into the smoking area with a friend and someone shouted out, "State your name, cuz!" from the background. I was like, "Cocozza, innit?" So it's going to follow me everywhere I go. Yeah. But it kind of showed that it actually did attract a huge audience. I think at one stage 20,000 people had seen a post of mine. That kind of reach is just, there was, if KTV had to do a bar chart kind of over here when we do my result, I think. But I'm really happy with what I did. I'm not going to change the way I did it.
One policy point you did have was exam feedback, which yes. Jack Lay has conveniently sorted for you.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say about that? Basically?
Yeah, well done to Jack first of all for kind of doing that. My manifesto point on this is anonymous coursework marking and exam feedback, so it's only one bit of it solved. Mm-hmm. It's generic feedback, and I'd love to have a bit more kind of work and make sure that actually it continues to be implemented every year. So it's something that's now implemented, but my job as VP Education is to make sure that it continues that. I'd like to have a look at anonymous coursework marking. I think it's quite an issue that some students feel passionate about. I know my partner, for example, has been marked down because of her kind of relationship with the lecturer not being as good as it could be, and I think that's wrong. I don't think that's particularly professional, and just to remove that possibility of a bias, I'd like to continue lobbying for anonymous coursework marking and anonymous exam marking as well.
That's interesting because I think people quite often sort of make jokes about friends of theirs getting better marks than them, and it's because the lecturer likes you more. Do you think that's a genuine problem?
99% or all of the lecturers at this university are professional, amazing teachers. It's just a shame that perhaps sometimes when disabilities are factored in, they're not always accounted for. I've never been marked down for an essay because I've missed some of my seminars or my attendance has been low, but I can't say yes or no, it does happen. I'm sure there are probably cases that it does happen. But I would say 99%, or I would say it's clear, all of the lecturers at Kent are fantastic. I think it has to be said outright. But there are discrepancies between schools and the way that they operate and policies and so on and so forth that need to be addressed. But yeah, does it happen? More than likely.
What is your main manifesto point? Like, what would be the biggest win if you achieved it in the space of this year?
Okay, so the biggest win for me would be certainly lecture recordings. I know that is something that every candidate kind of promises year in, year out, but we're almost on the cusp of doing it, I think. A lot of schools are already implementing this as a policy, but the inconsistencies faced across university need to be changed. So that for me is the biggest win, but I know it's going to take a lot of effort to do. A lot of talking to the unions because lecturers are kind of concerned about what they're going to be saying on camera. Oh my god, am I recorded? What if I actually call out a student and they, it's wrong? So there's a lot of conversation that happens before it is ever going to be agreed to across the university. But what I'd love to see is a gradual rollout so that students who need their lectures recording because of disabilities, illness, they have to have time off for bereavement, so on and so forth, those exceptional circumstances, they could have their lectures recorded. When I had back surgery in November, and I was off for 3 or 4 weeks because I wanted to come back to university as quickly as possible, none of my lectures recorded. Yet, student support said to me, yeah, we'll get your lectures recorded for you, don't worry about it. The lecturers don't know how to work the software. That's kind of these things that need to be kind of addressed. I know that the one thing I'd love to do, which is on everyone's mind at the moment, is free breakfast in exam season. I'm going to go to Leeds as soon as I can and kind of figure out how they've done it up there because that's their policy. The student union gives out free breakfast, free bacon, free sausages, tea, coffee for 1 hour every day during the mornings. Kind of students who queue up and ask for one. So I'm going to find out how they're doing it and try and bring it down to here at Kent.
Did you look into the funding aspect of the breakfast before you put it on your manifesto? Because obviously other people who were running in the elections were sort of talking about the amount that Kent Union is spending on certain things, yes, and the fact that they're not making money in certain areas. Where would the money come from, basically? Have you thought about that at all?
I thought about how much it might cost,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of where the money would come from, it would certainly be bidding for the money from the university first. So the university has all these pots of money that exist everywhere, and try and bid for some funding from those to sort of say, look, let's put something into the exam de-stress project. They already do anyway. The university put a nice chunk of money into making exam season sort of as stress-free as possible. They have all these classes that run, like the exam TP thing, free water, free fruit given out outside the library. So there is money to do it. It's just a case of, I have to have these conversations to kind of get the funding. So I haven't, I'm not going to sit here and say, I've done all the research already, it's definitely going to come from here, because it might not do. I need to be in the role first to make these conversations. But there's money there to do it, and I looked at the costings and it's kind of feasible. A tea bag is half a penny if you bulk buy. It's not less than that in some cases, depending on the quality of tea that you get. But it's totally feasible.
What would you say, as a final question,
Okay.
what would you say is the biggest thing that has been missed off previous VP Education's manifestos, or has been sort of pushed to the side?
What's the biggest thing that's been missed off?
In your opinion?
Yeah.
Not a statement of fact.
Not a statement of fact, my opinion. I don't really know, to be honest with you. I mean, I think Jack's manifesto the last few years have been really good, and I really respect the amount of work he's done. And we've already had these sort of conversations between us, but I guess in his style of being
Probably not.
in his style of being a SAB, we differ. I think I want to be the fun, engaging, kind of proactive SAB that gets on with as many people as possible, talks to everyone. I think that's where we differ in our sort of opinions and approaching the role. But I think the manifestos tend to be always actually focused on the right issues. Lecture recordings, anonymous exam feedback was Jack, 24/7 library. I don't think they've really missed anything off, apart from free breakfast, which is my idea.